reconvene the Parker Town Council meeting for June 18th at 7 p.m. Council, please sign in. All council members are present with the exception of Councilman Josh Rivero. All right, let's see. We've got one young lady in the audience, and so you have double duty tonight. You get to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So, how old are you?
I'm about to be 16.
About to be 16. Perfect. Come on down.
So 15.
If you're under 18, you get to come on down. What's that? I never asked.
Yes, every
All right, broke rule number one. All right, so we're gonna all follow your lead, so everyone will start when you start.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome, way to go. Thank you. All right, and I don't see anyone here from the Parker Chamber of Commerce for Parker Chamber updates.
And I didn't hear anything from them.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, then we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item, which is general public comment. This is an opportunity for you to give input to the town council. There's a 3-minute time limit. No action will be taken on these items. And this is public comment for items that are not currently on our agenda. So if you're here for an item that is on our agenda, there'll be public comment at that time. This is just general public comment. So we'll open that up at 7 p.m. if there's any, or 7:01 p.m. if there's anyone here to address council. Come on down. You can see the clock above us. You'll have a 3 minutes after you state your name and address.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, council, my name is Stephen Curtis, and my address is 22104 East Idlewild Drive here in Parker.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you. I know action is not necessarily taken on these public comments, but I did want to make a request of council to consider on your consent agenda item G1, which is the award of a contract for a red light at Idlewild and Canterbury in the amount of $245,000. And we've worked, a number of residents tried to work with the town at better solutions other than installing a red light. And especially in a time where this council recently has reduced the budget of the town by $2.7 million, the insertion of a red light, the fourth such red light, in a 8/10 of a mile stretch of road in the midst of a subdivision seems necessarily not the best way to spend money. There's some alternatives. The town traffic engineering, we've tried to work with them in terms of those alternatives, retiming the light to better control traffic on this intersection for the congestion that does occur for a short period of time, about an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon, pickup and drop-off time in between Cimarron Middle School and Legend High School. So given that that is a congestion time, folks who actually live in the neighborhood know it's a congestive time, tend to avoid that intersection. But the award of $245,000 when we've removed $400,000 worth of other road work, we've deferred maintenance on city vehicles, we've decided not to do some parks and rec open space. A fourth red light in less than a mile just doesn't seem a prudent use of town's money, nor does it really solve a large issue. The time, when we look at the school calendar, 151 school days in a calendar year, 2 hours a day on each of those days amounts to about 3.5% of the time. So we're going to throw $300,000 at a problem that exists less than 4% of the time. Even if we double that estimate to meet, say, a 4-hour warrant, we're still only addressing an issue that occurs 7 to 8% of the time out of the day. It's not a dangerous intersection. It does not have a huge accident rate that occurs at the intersection. The intersection's not well designed for a red light. Better suited probably for a roundabout, but certainly some things we've given town staff some suggestions on addressing, and staff's just rebuffed with, we're going to install a red light. You know, they did take some feedback from us in terms of lessening the impact, but we still would rather see council maybe take this out for a separate discussion with town, perhaps some public comment from the residents that are affected. So my time is almost up, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Right in at 3 minutes, too. Did you practice that one? Because it was like once or twice, right at it. Excellent. All right, next up for public comment. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:04 PM. And then we're going to go ahead, council, are you guys cool if we go ahead and just move on to item number 5 instead of the reports items from mayor and council?
Yes, sir.
All right, so then we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 5, which is our consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine, will be enacted with one motion and one vote, unless a council member asks to have something removed for further discussion. We have consent agenda items 5A through 5G.
Mayor, I'd like to pull 5E from the consent agenda.
Okay, so would you make a motion then for consent agenda items 5A through G with the exception of E?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Renee and a second by Josh. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously, and then the next, so we'll need a motion on consent agenda item 5E.
So Mayor, I would like to change the second reading of 5E to a date certain of July 16th.
So, just so we have it clear on there, so what you're changing on 5E is that the second reading will be on a date certain of July 16th.
Correct.
Okay?
Second.
We have a motion from Renee and a second from Amy. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. So for those of you in the audience, what a consent agenda item is, council cannot do anything outside of the public domain, so they can't discuss items until it's been brought into the public domain. So you'll see a lot of these items on here on the consent agenda are first readings. So that means now that they've approved that consent agenda, that doesn't mean that project or that item has been approved. It just means now it's in the public domain and a second hearing is scheduled where public input can be made and testimony can be given at those second hearings. So that's what that is. So now we'll move on to the next item. Item number 6, this is a presentation of our CAFR. CAFR. Come on down. All these acronyms. Should just be called like Cool Doc or something like that as opposed to CAFR.
That's what the C stands for.
It's cool. All right. Cool accounting. How come all the accountants laughed when I said that?
Because it is cool.
Because it is cool.
It is cool. Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. We are wrapping up the annual audit for 2017, and we will be presenting the 2017 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report tonight. That's what CAFR stands for. This document can be found online at parkeronline.org/2017 CAFR. Clifton Larson Allen LLP is the town's independent audit firm. Jake Houlihan is here tonight to present the CAFR to you.
Okay. I'm sorry, that was Jake?
Yes, Jake.
All right. Jake, if you don't mind just giving us your full name and your address, please.
Okay. Jake Houlihan, 11630 South Cormorant Circle, Parker.
Wonderful.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. Before I get started, I wanted to say a huge thank you to Rhonda Glenn and Mary Lou, the entire finance team, for helping us through this audit. It's really, quite an extensive process, and they do a very good job at preparing that document. So this communication tonight is a requirement of a financial statement audit. So ultimately, we work with them, but we are responsible to you and to report the results to you. So Rhonda referenced where the comprehensive annual financial report is. As part of an audit and as part of financial statements, there are certain things that need a little bit more context, and that's kind of what we're here to explain. So first off, there are various accounting policies that the town adopts in terms of how to account for specific transactions or routine or unique items. We're required to communicate to you if any of those are not in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles, or if we think any of them are misrepresenting the facts. We don't think so. We also call your attention to various accounting estimates. Not all the numbers are black and white. Some numbers are estimates. The most significant estimate affecting the town's financial statements is the net pension liability, which is FPPA, and the town receives a proportion of that liability. Also, we have to call your attention to any uncorrected or corrected misstatements in the financial statements as a result of our audit procedures. So there were no uncorrected misstatements. There was one corrected misstatement, which was a simple year-end accrual process. And then we also inform you of the reports that are contained within the document. So there are the basic financial statements, and then there are required supplementary information, which are things that are required by GASB, which is your financial statement pronouncement settings board, more acronyms, are required to be in there, as well as other information that the town includes to provide more context and some statistical analysis to users of the financial statements. And in terms of the required supplementary information, we give no assurance on that. And then in the other information, we do give an in relation to opinion, which means the numbers are materially correct in relation to everything else in the document. And then I would like to move forward to, I believe it's page 29 in that annual financial report, and just give you an overview of what an opinion is, and ultimately what we do for the town as your independent auditor. So on page 29 of the CAFR, this starts our independent auditor's report. So we lay out various things in this report. Management's responsibility for the financial statements. The auditors do not prepare the financial statements. We are not management. We cannot be part of that internal control system. So we highlight that for you. And then we tell you what our responsibilities are. So as the audit firm, we are responsible to review those financial statements and ultimately issue an opinion on that. On the next page in the opinion, you will find our actual opinion, and it's an unmodified opinion is what we call it. And that's the highest level of assurance for this type of engagement. So congratulations to the finance team. They did a wonderful job with that.
So instead of unmodified, can you just say awesome? Does that fit within GAAP or no?
Well, it used to be unqualified.
Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, so at least, all right. All right, you're good.
So that's all I have on the financial statements. I'm not going to go too much into the numbers since you all see those reports monthly. But if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take those now.
Okay. Council, any questions?
Awesome.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
That's an unmodified opinion of thank you very much. All
An
right.
awesome opinion.
Rhonda, anything else with that? Nope. Okay. Awesome. Then we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item, which is item number 7. This is a public hearing for the Tax and Fee Assistance Program Agreement for Dakota Tavern LLC. Mr. Carlson, you are going to be the leader tonight.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Appreciate your time tonight. We'll be brief and quick. Tonight, I'm bringing before you a application by the Dakota Tavern LLC to participate in the Tax and Fee Assistance Program pursuant to Parker Municipal Code 4.02. Dakota Tavern is a locally owned restaurant and bar and has been in business for approximately 8 years. They currently lease approximately 4,800 square feet of space in the Strip Retail Center located at Robinson Ranch at the southeast corner of the intersection of Parker and Hess Roads. I see some smiling faces. We've probably all had a beer there.
Just one.
Or two.
How many
I may have
fingers?
seen you there. The tavern currently employs approximately 25 people. 5 of those are full-time. They generate approximately $1.3 million annually in sales and approximately $40,000 of sales tax to the town. Mr. Noble has purchased a piece of property immediately south of his current location. He owns that property now and plans to build a 12,000 square foot commercial building and to expand his restaurant and bar to include a very cool rooftop bar overlooking the great views from down there, in addition to 3 additional retail spaces or office spaces that he'll lease to assist with that as well. He'll act as the developer on his own behalf and make all the necessary improvements that are associated with the planned commercial building and the site. He has obtained already a site plan approval and all required building permits through the Community Development Department, and the project is currently under construction. So those of you who have been there recently know that he sits across the street with a lawn chair and babysits that thing. Bob is here tonight. That's right. Bob is here tonight, and he wants to make a few comments after I'm done with the staff presentation, and then we'll be able to answer any questions. The capital investment is estimated at about $4 million and represents a significant investment in the community and a commitment to the town of Parker. The annual sales are estimated to be $2.5 million, growing to $3.5 million over the next 5 years, so approximately tripling his overall sales. The expanded operation will employ 50 to 60 individuals. 15 of those will be full-time when it is fully operational. The new location is tentatively scheduled to open late this fall. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. The Dakota Tavern project meets the following goals of the TAP program in that it assists with expansion of a local business, it provides new jobs, it produces increased sales tax, and it does contribute to the diversity of jobs and employment in the community. The project is revenue positive, and the proposed TAP agreement with Dakota Tavern would include a 50% rebate of building permit and fees and the construction use taxes, a rebate of 50% of increased sales taxes, and it would only be the increased sales taxes associated with this portion of the project, leaving the current sales taxes untouched, for a period not to exceed 5 years, and the combined maximum rebate of all fees and taxes would not exceed $110,000. Be happy to answer any questions that the council has. If not, I'd like to bring forward Bob to talk to you for a few minutes.
Council, questions for Matt?
Matt, my only question is, so if we're looking at, obviously, the net difference, how are we establishing the number as of today, so to speak? Is it an average of the last few years? Is it the prior year?
So we
What's
took
the floor?
So we took the last 2 years of sales tax returns that Mr. Noble had provided, and we used those as the floor in terms of establishing what the current sales tax generation would be.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. Mr. Noble? If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Bob Nobles. I live at 6280 Northwoods Glen Drive in Parker. It's in the Pinery.
Okay.
I'm the owner of Dakota Tavern. We've been there almost 9 years, actually.
Great. Floor is yours. Anything else you'd like to add?
I want to say thank you. Been here for a long time doing business. I like Parker. It's a good town. I like employing the people here in our town and keeping our revenue here in the town of Parker. That's always been very important to me. So, most of my employees all live within this community, and they all spend their money in this community also. So it's a big deal to me. I think it's a very nice designed building. I think it'll be a tremendous asset to the town of Parker. It's going to be a tremendous asset to me, so I'm very happy about that. And, yes, I know several of you, and I appreciate that. So I'm a longtime member of the community of Parker. I've lived here for more than 27 years. This is where me and my wife live, my kids live, and we're thrilled about being able to actually bring this to the town of Parker and give them a place that's locally owned and not a chain.
Okay. Perfect. Council, any questions for Bob?
I'd just like to thank you for your support of our veterans and all of the programs and fundraisers that you host there.
Well, thank you.
And
It's very important to me to give back. It's one of the number one reasons why I built the tavern in the first place was to help take care of some of our community. I'm really big on military and helping our Native American friends and people around the community. So it's a very big deal to me to be able to do those things.
both of which are dear to my heart, so thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Other questions?
Thank you, Bob.
No?
Thanks.
Bob, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Well, since this is a public hearing, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at 7:16 PM if there's anyone here wishing to address council. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:17, and council, I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 8.28.6 on second reading.
Second?
We have a motion by Amy and a second by Debbie. Council, please vote.
I think you do want to maybe amend that motion
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think that's the right
Is
one.
that
to
not the right
approve the
one on there?
tap and fee assistance
All right,
agreement.
so let's
for the
go ahead and
Dakota-
scratch that
dear,
back.
Sorry.
I move to approve the tax and fee program assistance agreement for Dakota Tavern LLC.
Second?
All right, so that's from
Guys.
Josh and from Renee. Second from Renee. Council, please vote.
Out of practice.
Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. Item number 8, which is 8A. This is ordinance number 8.28.6 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance to amend section 4.03.030 and subsection 4.03.200A of the Parker Municipal Code concerning sales tax and qualified nonprofit organizations. Linda, how are you?
I'm great.
Excellent.
I'm here to present for you, and basically what we're trying to do is make our code consistent with other home rule municipalities as it pertains to the sales tax for not-for-profit organizations.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add to the information that's in council's packets?
No, sir.
Nope. Council, do you have any questions for Linda?
Nope.
Nope. All right, we'll go ahead and open up for the public at 7:18 PM. If there's anyone here. Todd, you want to come down? Sales tax, All right. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:18, and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 8.28.6 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Renee and a second by Josh. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is item number 8B. This is ordinance number 8.28.7 on second reading, and this is a bill for an ordinance to amend section 4.03.200A of the Parker Municipal Code concerning sales tax on gas and electric services. Linda?
This is a change to our ordinance to make us more consistent with state statute as it pertains to industrial uses of gas and electric service in the town.
Council, questions for her? Off of anything else?
She is just so efficient.
She's got it,
Thank
man.
you.
She's an accountant, man. Or I don't know if you're technically an accountant or not, but she's a numbers lady. Right?
Yes.
All right. No questions, then we'll open it up for public comment at 7:19 PM. Mary Lou, you want to come down for public comment? No? All right, just thought I'd say. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:19, and I'll entertain further discussion or motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 8.28.7 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by John and a second by Amy. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now, the next two items, we're going to have one presentation or one joint presentation together. So these are items 8C and 8D. The two of them are, first is ordinance number 4.89.4 on second reading, which is a bill for an ordinance to amend section 11.01.030 of the Parker Municipal Code concerning the Parker Administrative Code. And then the second is ordinance number 3.01.25.3 on second reading, which is a bill for an ordinance to amend section 13.10.160 of the Parker Municipal Code to ensure compliance of new construction with the public utility regulations. The one, the only, Jim Maloney.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council.
How are you?
Very good. Thank
Peachy.
you for consolidating these two items. They are related. The first one is a change to our administrative code, and that's where we do all the enforcement associated with the town's building codes. And then also another change to the land development ordinance dealing with construction activities. Now, when it comes to the town being able to enforce its own regulations, we have plenty of tools. So, for example, under the Parker Administrative Code, if our building codes are not complied with, the chief building official can issue a stop work order. Under the construction activities section of the land development ordinance, if a developer is not complying with our codes, the town can simply not issue permits, whether that's a grading permit, a building permit, certificates of occupancy. However, there are not similar remedies available to other utility providers in the town of Parker that are part of a development project. And we learned of this shortcoming recently with the Parker Water and Sanitation District, and they're the ones that brought this matter to our attention and suggested that maybe we could work together to come up with a common plan that would benefit not just the Parker Water and Sanitation District, but all utility providers. In the example that I gave to you in your packet, we had a situation where a developer illegally tapped into Parker Water's water supply and without a backflow preventer was spraying chemicals on a site. Had there been a problem, it could have contaminated the water source. Parker Water really didn't have a remedy other than maybe fines, penalties sometime in the future, or withholding water connection sometime in the future, but they had no method of doing something immediately. So they contacted us and they said, well, what can we do? And we said, well, one thing we can do is we can include compliance with your rules and regulations into our code. So if there's a failure to comply with your rules and regulations, for example, under the administrative code, the chief building official could go out and issue a stop work order. That would certainly get their attention. Or if there was a need to get a permit, the town could certainly deny that permit if there wasn't compliance with the utilities rules and regulations. So these two code provisions would incorporate by reference the rules and regulations of the other utility providers and allow the town to engage in enforcement on behalf of that utility provider if there's a problem in the field. Any questions, Mayor and Council? That's essentially a summary of both.
Council, questions? None? All right, we'll open it up for public comment at 7:23 PM on either item 8C or 8D. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 8:23, and I'll entertain further discussion or two separate motions, please.
Move to approve ordinance number 4.89.4 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Josh, second by Debbie. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And then a motion on the next item.
I move to approve ordinance number 3.01.25.3 on second reading.
Second?
Motion by John and a second by Amy. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is item 8E. This is ordinance number 9.276 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance approving the intergovernmental agreement with the Douglas County Clerk and Recorder regarding the conduct and administration of the November 6th, 2018 coordinated election. Couldn't get that out. I know. Jim?
So on this particular item, Town Council on February 5th of this year approved a resolution to engage in a coordinated election with Douglas County for the election that will occur on November 6th. And as a part of a coordinated election, state law requires that the county and the municipality enter into an intergovernmental agreement for purposes of conducting the activities of the election. And that is the purpose for the IGA that's in your packet this evening. And there is a cost to the town, and at least the way the IG is currently drafted, that cost is $29,671.20 to participate in the coordinated election, which I think is a lot less than if we attempted to hold our own polling place election or mail ballot election here in the town of Parker.
And it's good that it was at 20 cents, because if it was at 25 cents, then the deal would be off. That's just crazy talk right there.
So any questions, Mayor and Council?
Council, questions? All right, open it up for public comment at 7:25. Coordinated elections, come on down.
Todd?
Seeing none?
Todd?
Huh? Todd, you want to come down for No? All right. We'll close public comment at 7:25. I'll entertain further discussion or motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number, and I've got it this time, 9.276 on second reading.
I was checking in this time. Motion by Amy, second by Renee. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. With no further business before council, we will adjourn at 7:26 PM.